Well, hello. So we are getting towards that late summertime when tomatoes are just coming in from the garden. They are ripening, there are so many. And what do I love to do? I love to preserve what is in season so I can use it throughout the year. And you know what? Tomato juice is like a family staple for us. Grandma always canned tons, mom canned tons. And the thing is, it's actually the easiest tomato product to can. I'm gonna show you why. But also it's the most versatile. Tomato juice can be the base to soups like chilies and minestrones and vegetable soups. They can also be made into Bloody Mary mixes. It can really be used for so many things that you would use tomatoes in because home canned juice is gonna be much richer, thicker, just better than anything you buy. It's not thin and like just gross and watery. No, it has tons of tomato flavor in it. So to start, we just take our tomatoes, and I've been kind of getting them ready. What's great is I'm gonna run them through a juicer that just hooks onto my KitchenAid. So it just hooks into my mixer. It's kind of a juicer and pulper, so it takes the pulp out and any of the seeds, any of the skin, anything you don't want in the core, but it keeps all the thick juice in by having a strainer that just comes through. You can use whatever juicer you would like. Any at-home juicer is gonna work for this. So I'm starting with my tomatoes. And when you're going to do your tomatoes, I wash them, of course. And if they are clean and good, I just take them and cut them in a size that will fit into the chute of the juicer, which will depend on whatever juicer you have. You can also put them through a food mill if that's what you have. Anything that you would like make applesauce with, or any food mill you would have in your kitchen is gonna work. So these that are clean, which we have a variety here. I'm using a lot of Amish paste tomatoes, which I love. I have a few mortgage lifters. When they get big, like this mortgage lifter, and they maybe kind of look like they have bad spots, those I do cut out. So anytime there is a bad spot, I try to be pretty liberal and get any of the bad out, because I don't want any contaminants in there. I don't want anything that could have, been just like have an off flavor, not be good. So I just cut these up into big chunks that will fit down that chute. And this is what's great. We are using the best that we have. Because the thing is, even if you have a couple tomato plants, chances are this time of year, you have too many tomatoes. And you're thinking, what am I gonna do with them? I don't wanna throw them out. No, don't. You can do juice. It's super easy. So I'm cutting up my last one. This one too, it has just a little bit of bad. I wanna make sure to get the actual bad spot out, just because that could get mixed in with the juice, and you don't want that. Because sometimes the bad has off flavor. Sometimes it actually has, something you don't wanna eat. So once they're all cut up like this and they're ready to go, I move over to my juicer and I'm gonna turn it on and we're just gonna start feeding them through. And you're gonna see here that I have a container that's gonna catch the juice and then a container that's gonna catch the pulp, which is important. So I'm just gonna start putting them in and you're gonna soon see this beautiful juice gonna come out and go down into my container. You guys, this really, if you're not used to canning, this is for you. So I'm gonna keep juicing. We're gonna get a nice, thick, rich juice. And look at some of that pulp that is coming down already. You can see this isn't just water. This is actually like a richness to it. Some of that pulp is with it. So I'm gonna keep doing this. We're gonna fill up the container and we're gonna move on. It's easy, it's so easy. We've done all the tomatoes and now this is the pulp that comes out of it. And yes, people, yeah, this is my grandma, my mom, they're coming out at me. You wanna put that pulp through that is discarded to me one more time. Now, if you're doing it with like a food mill in your kitchen, just like a hand crank one, you probably don't need to do this, but when you're using one like this, it gets even more pulp out and gives this great thick consistency. So I do not discard this the first time. I run that extra discarded pulp through 2 times, and you are gonna noticeably see that it is drier when it comes back out. It's completely different. This pulp now, you can see, look how it's dry, almost crumbly. It's just completely different. And it changes the whole sauce. And so you wanna also clean off the strainer in here because, the amount of pulp on there, and you don't wanna just get rid of that. You wanna keep it. So I make sure, and of course this all depends, okay, let's have a little conversation here. I don't ever want you to be hindered by the fact that maybe you don't have this that goes on a mixer. Maybe you don't have a mixer. That's fine. You can get a hand crank food mill or, food pureer like this for low cost, and you can do a few quart, no problem. So I am just putting all these right here. in just a large kettle. And this now needs to be cooked or at least heated up. So anytime you're gonna can something, you have to bring it to a boil. What I like to do is bring it to a boil, cook it slightly, so if there's excess water in it, it cooks off the water. That was grandma's trick too. That way, because sometimes when it sits, tomato juice will slightly separate and the water content that's in that juice will come to the top. And so as it cooks, it's gonna wanna slowly start separating and you're gonna actually cook off that excess water. So we're gonna let it cook a bit. It's gonna condense slightly. So you're making an even richer, more flavorful juice. Then we're gonna jar it up. We're gonna water bath it. People, this is easy. You're gonna love it. So this has been cooking for a while. You know, it just needs to come to a boil, to a rolling boil and cook. I just like to cook it and see if I wanna cook off any excess water. These actually seemed like pretty thick tomatoes and I didn't have to do that. But I did off the top skim the foam that was collecting. You know, the foam really is just what? Air bubbles, air pockets. And when you can that can cause to question, is that safe to can with all that air in there? So instead I just skim it off. And now I fill jars. This is why tomato juice is really, to me, the easiest thing. Like whenever I have an excess of tomatoes and I think, oh, I don't feel like making salsa or I don't need salsa, you know what? Let's just do juice. You juice them, you cook it a little bit, then you put it in a hot water bath and it's super simple. And I really do feel that juice is one of those things that during the winter, fall, I go down and grab one of these from my, pantry in the basement. Not really a pantry, it is just open shelves in an old farm basement, but it's nice to have because there are so many different things that I use this for, even if I wanna make like an enchilada sauce. All those things you're gonna think about. So I'm gonna leave a 1/2 inch headspace there at the top, and then I switch it over. Now, when I get these full, I make sure to put in, this is, tomatoes are the one thing where their acidity can really be questionable. So you always wanna add either some citric acid right inside, or bottled lemon juice, because bottled lemon juice, not the fresh, has some citric acid in it. So it takes more of the bottled lemon juice or less of the citric acid, which you can actually find in any grocery store anymore. And then that makes it at a safe acidity level to can and be shelf stable. Tomatoes, you really wanna be careful with just because you wanna follow a recipe. So you wanna follow the USDA canning guide to know what is safe and what's gonna work. So I'm gonna finish filling these up. We're gonna put the lids on, the rings on. We're gonna take them over. Guys, look at this beautiful juice. I'm wiping off the rim here of the last jar. You always wanna wipe them off for any contaminants. Like look, a little bit of juice gets on there and that can, maybe falter the seal. And then I put the lid on. Someone sent me this, it's a magnet that picks up. It actually works really well. And then I just put the ring on and you just fingertip tightness. Now guys, these are jars I've had for years. They could have been grandma's jars for all I know. You reuse them, you recycle them. That's the best part of canning. It's completely something that goes on forever. Unless you break one, then it doesn't. So I'm gonna take these over to my hot water bath, which is going. You always wanna have everything ready and going, so when you're ready, it's go time. So I'm gonna put these in there. And tomatoes process for a longer time. You can pressure them in a pressure canner. I sometimes do that, but you know what? Water bath sometimes just a little bit easier. You don't have to watch it quite as close. So we're gonna put these in there. We're gonna let it come to a boil. And then we are gonna have some beautiful tomato juice. It is such a good feeling to do this. I'm taking these out. And of course they're gonna be hot. Usually they come out almost sealed because they've been in there so long. But if not, you'll hear the little ping of that great sound because that just means the lid is going into a full seal. So once you take them out, you wanna let them sit 12 to 24 hours because one, you wanna let them completely cool down. You don't wanna move them because you don't wanna obstruct that seal. But then after the 12 to 24 hours, you can take off the ring and you wanna take it off because you wanna check to make sure it's not a false seal. If you keep the ring on, you can't tell if that lid is actually adhered and sealed onto the jar. So you want to make sure that it is, so you remove it. And then you can store them room temperature, they are shelf stable, put them in a basement, put them in a cabinet, a cupboard, your pantry, whatever works. That is what is best of this. Now, depending on the water content of your tomatoes, oh, did you hear that? That's a good noise. On the water content, sometimes as they sit and cool, they'll separate and you'll get a little bit of clear liquid on top. Completely normal. That's just the water and the tomato kind of pulp separating slightly. Still normal when you use it, just shake it before you use it and you're good to go. So now you have beautiful, delicious, thick and rich tomato juice for whatever you want. And what does it taste like? It tastes like fresh summer tomatoes. And what could be better than that? Absolutely nothing. My grandma would actually drink it. It's not one of my favorite things, but you can just drink it too if you want to. And they are ready to go whenever you want to use them. So what do I hope you do with this? I hope you share it around because yeah, that helps me and it helps the videos go places, but it also helps everyone see this is doable because if I can do it, anyone can do it because it's super easy, it's fun, and it's also delicious and it's healthy and a great way to reduce waste, use what you have, and be economical if you want to. So share it around and also check my website, wiseguy.com for this recipe, so many other recipes, like maybe how to use this for soups and stoops. And until next time, have some fun, go to a garden. If not, go to a farmer's market, buy some produce and enjoy it.